and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today's video is something a little bit different. I'm going to be chatting with you guys as I do my makeup, and hopefully you can tell by my hair and my makeup, but today's makeup is inspired by the Regency time period. Guys, I had so much fun filming this video. This is the finished look, obviously, so if you want to see how I got this look, keep on watching. I tried to incorporate as much bookish facts as I could. Throughout the video, I am going to be giving you historical romance facts as well as historical facts for that time period, what kind of makeup they wore, the ingredients that they used, which were crazy. So I try to keep it as interesting as possible and not just about the makeup. The reason that I am doing this makeup look is because everyone is super excited about the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn coming to Netflix. It's getting its own Netflix adaptation on December 25th. It has been announced. We have pictures. It's exciting. There are so many readathons and fun things happening in the romance community, and I'm just really excited that historical romance is getting the attention and love that it deserves. So much information, so many readathons. I don't want to get anything wrong, so I'm going to link everything you could possibly need down below. If I forget, let me know in the comments, because sometimes I forget, but I'll try not to forget. There are 2 readathons that I am currently participating in. I think there are more than that, but I'm just participating in 2. So the first one is the hashtag binging Bridgerton readathon, and this is with 5 lovely ladies on Instagram. I'm going to link all of their Instagram pages down below. All of my favorite romance pages on Instagram basically have come together. They're doing a really fun readathon. They're doing great things, so follow them, join the fun. If you haven't read the series before, that's totally okay. I haven't read the series before. I know it's super popular, but I've always put it off, so now is the time to read the Bridgerton series. There is also a Meet the Bridgertons group read, and that is hosted by Teresa from Reads Romance. I've talked about her before. She is amazing. Love her page. Really kind of just wanted to shout out those ladies and those readathons if you want to take part in them. But we're going to get to the makeup portion of this video. This hair was really interesting to do. I've never worn my hair like this before. My mom had to help me, and we didn't use like any curling irons. I just used a ton of hairspray, water, and a ton of bobby pins. Okay, I'm gonna get to the makeup. Right now. Okay, guys. I feel so silly. It is almost 10 o'clock at night, and I am sitting here filming makeup that nobody's gonna see. Well, you guys are gonna see it, so if you like it, give it a big thumbs up. I'm really breaking out right now. So we're going to cover all of this up, and I'm just going to take you guys along with me in doing my makeup, and I'm going to give you guys some fun facts about historical makeup, Regency makeup. The way they used to do their makeup in the 1800s, 1900s is very different from how I do my makeup now. So this isn't going to be 100% historically accurate, obviously. First, going to start off with foundation, cover some of these blemishes, right? I'm using the Revolution Pro CC Perfecting Foundation. This is actually like a tinted moisturizer, but it has pretty good coverage, and it's in the shade F10. So that's what we're using today. I wanted to go with something that was a little bit more natural looking, but still had good coverage because it was all about that base, Back in the 1800s, a woman's complexion was everything. Really tried to do my research for this video, but if you guys have any fun facts of your own, let me know down below. This hair is really getting in my way, but it's okay. The beauty ideals during that time was very smooth, pale skin that was unblemished, and then maybe just a little tint of blush or rouge right on like the apples of the cheeks to get a very natural flushed look. During that time, it was a very natural kind of youthful look for the ladies. In the 1800s, they did still want that paler skin tone. However, this is very different from the era before it. I'm thinking like Queen Elizabeth with the very ghostly pale white skin, really red cheeks, really red lipsticks, just kind of like painted on. That was an era before this. This was kind of just a new wave of beauty and makeup, and it was all about like the naturally beautiful look. Okay, so we have our foundation on, just a light coating of it. I still have some blemishes, so I'm going to go in with concealer. They definitely didn't use concealer during this time period, but we're just going to, oh, we all took it. We're just going to use it, okay? Because I have some dark circles we need to get rid of. Just a little fun tip. I like to let my concealer set a little bit. It actually gives you more coverage than if you were to just blend it out as soon as you put it on your skin. It kind of like gets, I don't know if this is like the right word for it, but it gets a little thicker, a little tacky, and when you blend it out, it keeps it coverage if you let it marinate on the skin. So that's what we're gonna do. On makeup related, since we're talking about the 1800s, this is the Regency time period. So if you are new to historical romances, I think the most popular time period that a lot of people tend to gravitate towards is Regency London. It's going to blend this in, but the reason it is called the Regency time period is because the current king was King George III, and he was ill, which made him unfit to rule. So his son, who was the Prince Regent, get it? Regency, Regent? Anyways. His son, who was the Prince Regent, and his name was also George. They were very creative with their names. So the Prince Regent George IV actually ruled in his father's place. So that small time period where he ruled in his father's place when his father was still alive is called the Regency time period. And it's actually a really short time period. It's only 9 years. I think it takes place from 1811 to 1820. Although it was a lot less makeup in this time period, they took great lengths to make sure that they had a nice, smooth complexion. Great lengths, guys. Like the ingredients they had in their foundation just is crazy. Although they didn't take on the white face paint as much in this time, they still used white face paint, and that face paint had ingredients like lead in it. And the lead made it more opaque and less glossy when you put it on. It was very thick and opaque, didn't budge, and that was why they used lead. But that led to a whole slew, get it? Lead. Sorry. Anyways, that caused a whole slew of problems because it's toxic. So not only were they constantly putting on that face and kind of inhaling that toxic ingredient, but it also caused an extreme coarseness in their skin, which led them to stop using lead. And then I think they used, what was the ingredient? Zinc. They ended up using zinc, which was less opaque, but I mean, it was less toxic too. So I'm just tapping this in with my finger so it can like really blend into the skin. Okay, I am just going to set that with powder. Used a lot of powder during this time, and it had a lot of ingredients like talc, very similar to some of the powders that we have even current day. Like, let me show you. So something like the Coty Airspun, which I mean has been around forever. This was created in 1935, so not exactly the 1800s, but it has been around for a while. So this is kind of like the powder they used to use, something that was in a little container, had a lot of talc, and it set their makeup, but it does create like a little bit of like a white flashback, which I mean, they liked. Freckles and a tan were frowned upon, which I mean, that is not how it is today. We love some melanin. I love a little bit of tan to my skin, and freckles are super cute and youthful. So it is funny just how beauty norms, beauty ideals, and makeup trends sort of just fade and grow throughout time. I didn't really apply like a lighter foundation because I feel like that's just going to make me look ashy, which is why I kind of said this is not completely historically accurate, so you guys just kind of have to bear with me. If you guys like super historically accurate videos and makeup inspired by different time frames, I watched a video. Her name is Sabrina. She is a makeup YouTuber, and I've watched her for years, and she has an entire series called Historically Accurate Makeup, and she does tons of different eras. I don't think she's done Regency, but I know she did Victorians. So if you guys want to see those videos, I will link them down below because I took a lot of inspiration from those videos, and I even learned some facts from those videos. So the way women looked during this time was huge, and the first beauty book, or the women's magazine, actually came out around this time, and it was in 1811. Not exactly sure if that's the exact date. I saw 1811 and then I saw 1816, so it's somewhere within that time frame where the first like magazine or beauty book talking about different products and ways of application came out during this time. The beauty book that I found that came out in 1811 is called The Mirror of the Graces, or The English Lady's Costume. It was very poetic, like the way they talked about women's like makeup application and society standards. It was almost kind of like a poem, the way they kind of described the different ways that women can apply makeup and how they should look. Very based on society and how people viewed you. And if you weren't following like these society and beauty ideals, it was unfashionable, and it kind of spoke of your status. Okay, next step. No bronzer, guys. That hurts my soul because I love bronzer. I love a little bit of a tan, but that is not what they did during this time. Blush, rouge, that was all the rage during this time. We're still really into red blush, but more so like a flush as if you kind of like took a walk in the park. They would even like pinch their cheeks to get that kind of youthful flushed look. They would feign illnesses just so they could like pinch their cheeks and say like they were flushed and youthful. Blush was the rage. I feel like this was like the most options they had, really, because they had powder blush, they had cream blush, but mainly they had blush that would come in like these little paper sheets. I don't know if you guys use like blotting or oil sheets, but it was basically like a piece of paper that was very saturated in pigments that they could just lightly tap on to their cheek. A lot of like crushed beets. I think beet juice was really popular that they would crush and put on their cheeks, and they would also put it on their lips. So that rosy flush would be on their cheeks as well as their lips. So yeah, I'm going to try to replicate that. I don't really have like a red blush, so I think I'm going to use something like this, maybe? I don't know. And more so like on the apples of the cheeks. They weren't really sculpting their face because they didn't use bronzer or highlight. It was just a tin of blush. Quick pause on the makeup. Do you guys want to know one of the oldest makeup products that is still created today? That is Pond's Cold Cream. What? This thing, what year was this created? I wrote it down. It says it was created around 1846. So not exactly in this time period, but still in the 1800s. This cold cream has been created for years and years and years and years. It was very popular in the 1800s to use cold cream because, again, they liked that unblemished, smooth skin, even though they were using lead. This right now is created more so as a makeup remover, but they would even use this as a primer. And the reason it's called cold cream is because the feeling of this consistency on your skin leaves a very like cold, fresh feeling. So they would use it as a makeup remover, a makeup primer, a makeup smoother, just kind of an all-around product. Cold cream was used a lot in the 1800s. Still just dying over the fact that they used lead. They were literally poisoning themselves just for the idea of beauty. Wonder what we use today that people maybe 100 years from now would look back in their history books and be like, that's crazy that they use that. There is a musical called Six the Musical. I've talked about it before. This is set in the time period of Henry VIII, so not this time period at all. But in one of the songs it says, "So what, the makeup contains lead poison, at least your complexion will bring all the boys in." And it just makes me crack up every single time. So like the entire time that I am doing my makeup, I'm singing that song. That they were more concerned about snatching a duke than they were about poisoning themselves. Now we are on to the brows. Now personally, I love a bushy, filled in, thick brow. That is my favorite thing. I think it is so flattering, but is not what they did during this time, unfortunately. So a very heavy filled in brow or very thick liner was not very popular in England for a while. It was more so popular in Egyptian culture, and eventually that fashion came over to England and to the Western world. It was very inspired by the Egyptians, but in this time period it was very simple on the eyes, not a ton of mascara or liner or brows. The eyes, it was more so all about getting a bright-eyed, youthful effect, right? They would go to such extremes of having a bright-eyed look that they would actually squeeze, wait for it, lemon juice. They would squeeze lemon juice in their eyes to make it look brighter, which you think that would burn, right? My sister's like nodding her head. That would freaking burn and make your eyes look red, but that is what they use to make their eyes look brighter. And they use things like soap suds and perfume on their eyes to like make it look brighter. Like, that's insane to me. That was the thing of the 1800s. A lot of the makeup that they used was very heavily fragranced, a lot of ingredients that obviously we do not use today. So it's so interesting. When they did fill in the brows and when they did use eyeliner, the products that they typically used were soot and some kohl's. So think just like your standard kohl liner, something very similar to that. But mainly they used products that had soot in it to kind of like tint their lashes and tint their eyes for eyeliner. So thank goodness that mascara was invented so we don't have to use soot, right? Okay, so this isn't historically accurate. They really didn't use eyeshadow, but I feel like I need some in my soul. So I'm just going to take like a cream eyeshadow and just pop that all over the lids really lightly. A little bit of a brown shadow and just smudge it across my lash line. They didn't do like a big wing or anything. That was more like Egyptian culture. Oh my gosh, I would love to do Egyptian makeup, like the liner, the brows. Egyptians had so much more fun with their makeup. Now we're on to the lashes. Again, they didn't really have mascara, like a mascara tube. It was soot that they used, and then they had like a cake mascara. That, think of like a pomade that they would wet and dip into, and then they would go ahead and put that on their eyes. The first mascara, oof, I don't know what time period it came in, but nowhere near this time period. If you guys would like to see other time periods and other makeup looks inspired by book covers or just books in general, please let me know. Lip color was a huge thing in the 1800s. They were going for that very flushed look on the lips, kind of with the cheeks, a lot of red, pink, berry. I think during this time they used mainly salves. Think like rose salves that even we kind of still have today. I'll show you. I can't open it. This is the Smith's Rosebud Salve. So it is something very hydrating, has a little bit of color, very moisturizing. This was kind of what they would use to put on their lips. They used a lot of beeswax during this time as well. Most of the products that they used were pots like this that were tinted lip balms with suspended pigment, and then they had like rosebud salves like this. I feel like a fuller lip is very popular in this generation, but for a look like this, they kept it centered right here in the middle and kind of just blended it out. They didn't really like overline or overdraw their lips. It smells so good. Yeah, make sure my hair is looking fine. I'm gonna put some final touches on this makeup and I will be right back. Really quickly, I want to talk about this hair. This isn't totally historically accurate. I did my best. Well, my mom did her best, and I actually really kind of like the way it turned out. Anyways, talked a little bit about how later on they were inspired to do like kohl liner by the Egyptians. Well, this curly updo was very much inspired from the Greeks, like Greek goddesses, just like short curly updos that kind of framed the hair. There was a lot of like short bobs going on, so not a lot of length. Hair wasn't really worn down. Again, this isn't totally historically accurate. I tried my best. Decoration. So I talked about the pearls a little bit earlier, but tiaras, flowers, beads, a lot of decoration, very dainty decoration was put into the hair. There was a huge social status as well. Red hair, which is so crazy to me, but red hair was deemed unfashionable. So ladies with like very bright red hair, vibrant red hair were definitely the talk of the ton, so to say. I think red hair is gorgeous. I think freckles are gorgeous, but that's kind of just what was popular during the 1800s. I actually really like the way they did their hair back in the day. They were all about these curls. I don't have bangs, but they were a lot about like the curly bangs in the front, kind of these twisty turbies, always in an updo. It was very uncommon, pretty much never happened that a woman would wear her hair down. Women who wear their hair down in public were more so like ladies of the night. So it was always a very elaborate curly updo, very different from like the Georgian, is that how the time frame is pronounced? I'm not sure. The Georgian, where they were wearing those like powdered white huge wigs. Very different. So hair was a huge thing in the Regency time frame. Hey, you guys, I know this was really simple and quick. Well, I don't know if it was quick because I was talking a ton, trying to give you guys as many facts as I could find. But this is the finished makeup look, something inspired by the 1800s in honor of the Bridgerton series that is getting a Netflix adaptation, which is just so exciting. That's it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the absolute world to me. I hope you're all staying happy and healthy, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!